Today, in this video sponsored by Squarespace, I'm going to be showing you 4 advanced methods for superior designs. Let's go. The first method is recycling. It sounds a bit strange. What were you going to recycle? Well, here on my screen, you can see I've got this brand presentation. This is what we do for most of our clients. Within a brand presentation, we normally have assets that we give to the client afterwards. This is what a brand identity is. It's not just like the logo and everything else. It's got a lot to do with how everything looks from social media, how you sound, the colors that you use, the composition of the photographs that you have on social media, all of those things. Well, this client, Masperidia, needed to have a lot of Instagram marketing and a lot of social media marketing. So we wanted to get their brand in nearly every aspect of social media marketing without being overtly, Masperidia. So what we did is, instead of doing that, we actually created these shapes. Now, these patterns inside of these shapes here are custom patterns for the client, but for some reason the shapes inside, which is what these are going to be, these are Instagram templates for stories, the image will go in here. The strange thing is they look kind of like the logo in some areas. There's like a weird shape there, and that's because it is made from the same shape. What we did is we created these shapes here from the bottom of this R here. Obviously, if I scale that even more, you can see that it's the same exact angle right there that we used. And the reason why we did this is because it gives people the chance to see the brand even more. It gives awareness. This is part of what repetition is inside of brand identities. Good designs with layouts and compositions do well with repetition. And what we like to do is reuse certain parts of like an icon or part of a logo type throughout the brand creatively, because it's part of the same cloth. It's like sort of cut from the same cloth. It looks similar. It's instinctively there all the way throughout. For you to do this, you should just find parts of a logo, find parts of a design that you've created, reuse them in a creative way throughout brand identities or your design work. The next advanced method is gridding. You've heard of it. We use the rule of thirds all the time. When you bring up your iPhone camera, that is the rule of thirds grid. I'm actually using it here. My hands should be intersecting on the rule of thirds here, or the grids. Well, gridding is what keeps your design in rhythm and in time, essentially. If you've ever played guitar, you've heard a metronome going on. I used to play guitar and there used to be a click in my ear when I played it live on stage. And essentially that kept us all in time. And that's what a grid does, is it keeps you all consistent and in time. If you've got a lot of information though, and you need to put it on this giant poster or whatever you're working on, the best way of working out how to do this, or the best place to put things, is after creating the grid, you create blocks. This allows us to lay out information correctly, knowing the space and sizes, knowing when we can put an image in or when we shouldn't put an image in, or how large the type should be, or where should the focus be. Well, we see here that we've got the focus on this image in the center. We've got a heading here. We could have some information there as well, and then anything tertiary can just sort of hang out down here. Now, a lot of information can be difficult to put in grids, and that's why we use these boxes here, because if I bring in this over here, this poster is actually the exact grid size of this. And obviously it's very basic, but you can see that it works all the way through. Now, gridding isn't only just used for layout, it's actually used for logo design as well. Here's an old video of mine of me explaining this. I'll link it down below, so go and watch it after you've seen this video. Gridding with a logo allows your work to be pixel perfect, but also allows for ultimate scalability. If you think about how a screen works, it uses pixels. If you can make the icon or logo that you're working on pixel perfect, it will work on very small devices like an Apple Watch or smartwatch. So when you're designing a logo, using a grid can actually help you gain consistency, but also the ultimate scalability. Now, the next method is all about knowing the exact sizing of your type. How do you know how large your body text should be to your title text, or how large should the subtitle text be to the title, or what weight should it be? These are all questions that we all have. Well, there's a couple of really good methods I like to use to mitigate this. Okay, so I've got a template here. We've got type. Now, this looks a bit really badly laid out. It's just obviously lorem ipsum, but you can't see where the title is to where the body is. We don't know what sizes we should use. Well, this is how I would fix this. I'm going to first focus on my title. I need this to be the most seen thing, as it's the title. So we make it so it's the focus. So we've got the client name here, just as a weird example. Then we've got our type down here. So we've got our client name here. This is how big I think I want the title to be, somewhere around here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this down and to know the sizing of the subtitles that I want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 1.618, which is the golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequence. So I'm going to select this type. I'm going to go over here and just press /1.618 and it will divide it by that number. Now, if I keep dividing by 1.618, it will turn out that we have a really nice and cohesive text system or type system for our work. So I'm going to duplicate it again and I'm going to go over here, divide by 1.618, and there we go. So let's say that this is H1, H2, H3, and let's change the text to regular for this. Okay, brilliant. So that means that if I go over here to our work, we're going to go ahead and change this title to 140. Our text we're going to change to, let's say 33. Okay, not 33, let's go a bit higher, so 53. Then we'll change our tiny title down here to 33. Now we'll just lay this out on the grid. So I'm going to justify all to the left, make sure it's got even spacing all the way throughout. And boom, instantly we've created a nice type system very quickly on the fly. And the great thing about this is that we can actually take all of these and scale them down if we need to all together as one. And you'll still have a really good sense of contrast, layout, and hierarchy within your type system. So use the golden ratio for working out your sizes. Before I go into the last method, which you really want to stick around for, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now, if you're a designer like myself, you may not be a web design wizard, but you can create one killer website. With Squarespace, you don't need to be a web design wizard. With thousands of award-winning customizable templates, fully customizable as well, it's pretty good, you can design your website the way you want it to be without the hassle, which means that you can get it to be as branded as you. And nowadays, it's more important than ever to have your own website. You can't just use your portfolio on Instagram or other web pages or social medias. You have to have your own website. So with Squarespace, not only can you get the website, but you can also get domains on there, set up your email account and everything else. It's super simple. And the best thing about it is you get a free trial whilst clicking down below in the description. You'll also get 10% off your first purchase of the Squarespace website or your domain when you click that and use the code there. So make sure you click that. Even if you want to just try it out, you can go try it out, design your website, then when you're ready, use my code and it will still work. You're still good. You get the 10% off. So thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. The last method, which is super important, and it's one that I've only touched on ever so slightly on this channel, is called the power of reduction. A little backstory. Whenever I speak to clients and we talk about the logo design process, they work out how do I know which choice is the best for them. And I always say it's from what I call the power of reduction, or the reduction method. This method basically consists of looking at all the options, and we have a lot of different directions we can go down. We can go down this road, this road, this road, and that is like the sort of drawings that we create, the sketches, the concepts. We've got loads of concepts at the start, but we need to whittle them down to a few concepts that we could go down, which will give us a correct direction. Now, doing this is what I call the power of reduction. It's reducing the possible places we could go in this design. I've always taught that you should like draw 50 designs or 50 logos in 10 minutes on a piece of paper really quickly, because when you're sketching and you're just getting ideas out, that's the most important thing, is just to get the ideas out. Then you can make decisions and you can reduce them down. Now, the great thing about this is that it's zero pressure, and I talk about it on my Skillshare class as well, how we can do this, but how we reduce down our ideas to like one good idea. So when you reduce your work, you're essentially saying no to a lot of different places or a lot of different ideas until you get to one that you like, or three that you like. Now, common sense would say that that one idea is probably the best one that you have. This way, it sort of takes the decision making out of design. You're using common sense, but it also means that you're making things purposefully, that you're being intentional about what you're creating. And a lot of this is about choice. So whenever you're working on a design, a logo design, or whatever you're doing, keep in mind the power of reduction. Like you see in all of my logo redesign videos, all I do is I create a weird ideas and I make a choice. I'll choose one or two that I can further explore, then I'll make another choice of which design I should focus in. The great thing about this is that the reasons why I focus in are really apparent, and I can make them very clear to the client as to why I've chosen to go down in this direction. So reduction, it makes all that you design clear and purposeful. It streamlines your whole process, and it will reduce the possibility of going down the wrong direction by just using common sense, leaving you more likely to go in the correct direction. And you reduce unnecessary clutter in design, which is a big no-no in good design. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to press that white subscribe button now for some reason, not sure why, and check out this video over here.